My name is Vicki Hald. My parents moved to Lomita in 1958, and I went to Fleming Junior High and then Narbonne. Well, I enjoyed being Miss Lomita in 1964, and it was a special year as Lomita became its own city. There was a lot of events that year. There was groundbreaking ceremony at Glen Hill Acres and Lomita Pines, and that was in November of 1964. For the first annual report, I did a tour of Lomita and all the local. I went to Narbonne, I went to Fleming, St. Margaret Mary's, Miss Curzic's Doll Museum, and St. Margaret Mary's, and then Lomita Park. Later that year, Lomita had an entry in the San Pedro Christmas Float Parade in the Los Angeles Harbor, and it was a lot of fun. We were decorated the boat. It was a 36-foot boat, and it was with the JCs, and everybody made me feel comfortable. It was just a real nice affair. It was real nice, yeah. And then there was a Christmas party at Lomita Park. I think around that time, it was the December of 64. And it was sponsored by the Cooperating Organization of Lomita. And that was on December 19th, actually. It was put on by the Lomita JCs. They're the people that actually started it. And I don't know a lot about everybody involved except for the JCs. I just know my mother entered my name. And from there, it's all history now. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, it was the first year Lomita became a city, which made it a busier year than it could have been for other Miss Lomitas. I had the groundbreaking, we had parties, we had get-togethers and events in the city. So I had a busy year. It was a fun time for Lomita, and I think Lomita felt important. It was now its own city. And, we were somebody. We were part of our own group now. We weren't part of everybody else. I think Lomita flourished since that. Well, there was more events, like I said, there was more things to do. Well, people have always been friendly. Lomita's a friendly city, so it's always been friendly. I don't recall anything real spectacular as far as things didn't really change that much. The city changed, the buildings changed, we added on. I think everybody felt good about being incorporated. And like I said, they had a big anniversary party on June 26th, and it was actually the June 30th that Lomita became incorporated in 64. So in 65, in June of 65, there was this big party celebration. It was everybody. It was dignitaries. It was civic officers. Some movie stars were here, but I don't recall any of them. And there was clowns and parades. It was an equestrians and lots of bands, girls and boys clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts of America were here. There was marching units, and the Air Force support group was here, and the youth bands. After the parade, there was a picnic at Lomita Park, and that was nice. And then there was contests, and they had things. I'm not sure what they had to serve to eat, but they had a few things. It was a picnic, and they had softball contests, fashion show, Minties, and many prizes were given away. It was great. And in the evening, they had a dinner dance at Lomita Park, and I'm not sure it was at the community building. I don't know if that is now the gym. And then it was actually a Spanish theme. I have some information in my papers there, because Spanish was for Lomita, was for the Little Hills. So that's why it was a Spanish theme. It was really interesting because they had a lot of Spanish people and dancers at the parade. But the evening, they did not have any Spanish or Mexican food. They had prime rib. So I thought that was interesting. They stopped it and had prime rib. No Mexican food. No, they stopped that. So, but it was, they had a mariachi bands, and they had a small orchestra. They had it all. And that was on June 26th, the 1 year celebration. So we did a lot of stuff that year. A lot of things happening. His family, and my family lived here in Lomita and Harbor City. And then when we got married, we stayed here, raised our 2 children and grandchildren. Of course, don't live here, but they've, when they were younger, and I do have 2 younger grandchildren that live here. The other ones have all moved away, the older ones. I'm here because of my family, basically. And this is where he had work. And I've worked here all my life in the surrounding cities. Well, one thing about Lomita Park I really like, especially because when I was 13 and Friday nights, they had Friday night dances. And it was a lot of fun. I went there with my neighbor, Charlene Medlock. She actually entered the contest after I did the next year, which made it interesting. Yeah. So she and I used to go to the dances occasionally on Friday nights, and found out my husband also went, but we didn't know each other then because we were only 13. I hadn't met him yet. And that was a lot of fun. After that, when my children were born, I used to take them to Lomita Park, and I watched Lomita Park grow because it started out a basic park. And then they got nicer. They even had a swimming pool for a while. Okay, you heard about that? Yes, it was nice. Yes. And then they didn't like that after a while. I guess they decided they wanted something else. So they took out the little pool, and then they started putting the slides and all the new apparatuses in. Every year or two, they would come out with something different, and I enjoyed watching it grow. And then after my children grew, I took my grandchildren there. I have 3 older grandchildren, but I have 2 younger grandchildren, and I still take them there to this day. And so I've enjoyed watching Lomita Park. It's been great. So Lomita Park is probably my favorite part about Lomita. I still go. I take my dog, my husband and I, or myself, walk my dog a couple times a week at Lomita. I always feel special going to Lomita Park, walking my dog.